Yo, what's going on, guys? I am back with a brand new video for today, Halloween, October 31st. I was trying to think of like what to post for Halloween. So I don't think I've ever done like a Halloween type theme, spooky theme type video. If you read the title, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go into depth, or not really to depth. Yeah, I guess so. Like an investigation on Dorothea Puente. Um, so Dorothy Puente is pretty much, I guess, a there's history of her in Sacramento, California, my hometown that I was born in, and there's a home in downtown Sacramento that is, I guess, like it's like a historic monument or something like that, I guess you could say, but it's haunted. If you know who Dorothea Puente is, I'm gonna kind of go into details about her, like a background and like a little investigation about Dorothea. Uh, Dorothea was a serial killer. Um, yeah, yeah. There's, yeah, there's just so much about her. There's some stuff that like I don't really know that much. I just know that she, uh, really just pretty much unalive multiple innocent people that just needed a home, that needed help, for someone to take care of them, and she just took advantage of those people. So in this video, we're gonna go into some details about Dorothy Puente. Just make sure you hit that like button and make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure to ring that notification bell. When you subscribe, you're helping me out. When you ring the notification bell, you just get notifications whenever I post a video, post a short, or when I go live. Okay, so in the description down below, there's sources that I have. It's my first time do something like this, so I want to make sure that I don't get hit with anything. So there's, like I said, there's gonna be some sources that I'm be using to kind of describe and go like give you the history of Dorothy Puente. One of the articles I found is called Sacktown Magazine. Also, Fox 40 is a local news channel here in Sacramento, but also we kind of use Wikipedia because I just kind of skimmed through everything, so I didn't really like do like go and deep dive all of it and take my time because I just want to read about her. That way you guys get my like reaction about her. Also, this video I kind of want to do like raw footage where like it just read and all that, but there are gonna be some edits because I'm probably gonna pause and read and then like describe. So I just want to make this very interesting for you guys. And I will post the link, or not link, but show you guys everything like I'm reading. I know Wikipedia it was used a lot during my time with a lot of people when we had to do book reports. But so, there's some pages that doesn't give you that much information. So like I said, there's like 3 or 4 articles that I picked up. And I will also like kind of read little notes that I got from this video that I got from YouTube. All right, so Dorothy Puente, Dorothea Helen Puente was born January 9th, 1929, and was unalive on March 27th, 2011. She's an American convicted serial killer in the 1980s. She ran a boarding house in Sacramento, California, and murdered various elderly and mentally disabled boarders before cashing their Social Security checks. Yeah, that's what I've heard, and it was crazy. There's a lot of schemes, a lot of cash money grabs, but this elderly lady, she knew what she was doing. And there's some stuff that she also like. There's prior to all that. She has a history. She has a background. When she was a teenager. So we'll learn about that in this video. Puente's total count reached 9 murders. She was convicted of 3, and the jury hung on the other 6. Newspapers dubbed Puente the Death House Landlady. Crazy. All right. So her backgrounds. Dorothea Puente was born Dorothea Helen Gray on January 9th, 1929, in Redlands, California, to Trudy May and Jesse James Gray. Both parents were alcoholics, and Puente's father repeatedly threatened to unalive himself in front of his children. He passed away of tuberculosis in 1937. Her mother who worked as a sex worker, lost custody of her children in 1938 and died in a motorcycle accident by the end of the year. Puente and her siblings were subsequently sent to orphanage where she was abused, sexually abused. Yeah, so that's what it says. I said there's articles I read. I want like actual information, but that's what read about her background. So a little more. There's a whole lot. Uh, Puente's first marriage at age 16 in 1945 was to a soldier named Fred McFall, who had just returned from the Pacific theater of World War II. The two had two daughters between 1946 and 1948. Puente sent one child to live with relatives in Sacramento and placed the other for adoption. She also suffered a miscarriage. That's it. In the spring of 1948, Puente was arrested for purchasing women's accessories using forged checks in Riverside. She pled guilty to 2 counts of forgery, serving 4 months in jail and 3 years probation. 6 months after her release, she left Riverside. Later that year, Puente's first husband left her. Yeah, man, she was doing too much. But what I also read, or from a video, this is what I took note of. She looked innocent as she appeared, but she had a history with the law, like forging checks. At the age of 19, she became a convicted felon from what she was doing. If I read this right, around 1960, she was found drugging and stealing from the elderly. So that, like, already, she had a major history of a lot of things. You know, she had this whole plan for her home that we're about to learn about. All right, so let's go back up a little bit. In 1952, Puente allegedly married merchant seaman Axel Brand Johnson in San Francisco. She created a fake persona, calling herself, hopefully I can not mispronounce this, Tia Singola Yarda. Apologize if I pronounced that incorrectly. A Muslim woman of Egyptian and Israeli descent. They had a turbulent marriage. Puente took advantage of Johnson's frequent trips to the sea by inviting men to their home and gambling away his money. Wow. Okay. Puente was arrested in 1960 for owning and operating a bookkeeping firm as a front for a brothel in Sacramento. She was found guilty and was sentenced to 90 days in Sacramento County Jail. In 1961, Johansson had Puente briefly committed to DeWitt State Hospital after a binge of drinking, lying, criminal behavior, and suicide attempts. While there, doctors diagnosed her as a pathological liar with an unstable personality. Puente and Johansson divorced in 1966. Although she continued to use Johansson's name for some time following their separation, she assumed the identity of Sharon Johansson, hiding her delinquent behavior by portraying herself as a devout Christian woman. She established her reputation as a caregiver, providing young women with a sanctuary from poverty and abuse without charge. In 1960, Dorothea married Roberto Jose Puente. Okay. After 16 months, the couple separated, with Dorothea citing domestic abuse. She attempted to serve him with a divorce petition, but he fled to Mexico. The divorce was not finalized until 1973. The two continued to have turbulent relationship, and Dorothea filed a restraining order in 1975. She continued to use the surname Puente for more than 20 years. Following her divorce, Puente focused on running boarding house located near 15th and F Streets in Sacramento. She established herself as a genuine resource to the community and to aid alcoholics, homeless people, and the mentally ill by holding Alcoholics Anonymous meetings and assisting individuals to sign up to receive Social Security benefits. She changed her public image to that of a respectable older matron by putting on vintage clothing, wearing large glasses, and by not dyeing her graying hair. She also established herself as a respected member of the local Hispanic community funding charities, scholarships, and radio programs. She eventually met and married Pedro Angel Montalvo, though Montalvo abruptly left the relationship a week after their marriage. Oh, goodness. On December 21st, 1978, Puente was convicted of illegally cashing 34 state and federal checks that belonged to her tenants. She was given 5 years probation in order to pay $4,000 in restitution. So that's her background. We're going to read about one of the first people that she came in contact with. This is from Fox 40 News. There's another one, like another article that's very long. We'll look into that. Depending on how this will look, right? Because I kind of want to make this like a 2-part video, because I feel like this is just a brief. This article is probably brief of her history, and the other one I kind of want to like take a more look into it. All right. So one of the first people that came in contact with Puente and later died was Ruth Monroe, who rented a room from her in April 1982. Shortly after moving in, Monroe died from an overdose of codeine and Tylenol. Puente told the police that Monroe was depressed due to her husband's illness, and police at first ruled Monroe's death as a suicide. A few weeks later, Malcolm McKenzie, 74, accused Puente of drugging him and stealing his pension. Puente was convicted of theft and was sentenced to 5 years in jail. So that was a few weeks later after the first one, so 1982. So I don't know if she served. I'm not sure. She was sentenced, right? But let's see. All right. While in jail, Puente had a pen pal, 77-year-old Everson Gilmouth. Once released from prison in 1985, Puente and Gilmouth moved in together and opened a joint bank account. So roommates there. So she did 3 years, right? And I guess the rest was probably like probation. In November of the same year, Puente hired Ismael Flores as a handyman for wood paneling inside her home. She paid him $800 bonus and even gave him Gilmouth's red 1984 pickup truck, stating that Gilmouth gave her the car that he no longer needed the vehicle. Puente hired Flores again to build a 6x3x2 box. I think I read that correct. Measurements with math does not work well with me, so ignore that. That she claimed she would use for books. Later, Puente and Flores dumped the box into a river in Sutter County. Later that year, the box was found with the body inside, but the police did not connect their findings to Puente at that time. Okay. Interesting. So her roommate. That's crazy. So, from what I'm understanding, her and her pen pal moved in together, right? They opened up a joint bank account, so all his money was going to that bank account that they were sharing. Used that money to pay Ismail, who was her handyman, build a box. They dumped the box in a river. And then later that year, the box was found with the body inside. Okay. Three years after the box was found, the body was determined to be Gilmouth. Oh. During that time, Puente had been collecting Gilmouth's pension as well as forging letters to Gilmouth's family in which she impersonated him. Puente continued to house and help elderly and disabled people. She would read all of her tenants' mail and take any money or social security checks that they received, while she would give all her tenants monthly stipends. Puente would keep the remainder of their money, claiming it was needed for expenses, according to the Crime Museum. Several people several parole agents visit Puente's house over the years in order to stay away from elderly people and not handle checks from the government. However, she was never charged during those visits. Hmm. I mean, if she claimed that as a business, right, then she could. I should get away with that. How can they didn't lock her up? Like, people started becoming suspicious in 1948 when Alvaro Montoya, a disabled man with schizophrenia, disappeared. His social worker had reported him missing when he missed his meetings. When police arrived at the house to ask Montoya, they eventually searched the yard, where they dug up 7 bodies in total. All right, before I move on, this right here in 1948, November 1948. So I got some notes. I'm gonna read. I did some little deep dive. This is from BuzzFeed. It's from a channel on YouTube called BuzzFeed Unsolved Network. The title is called "How They Were Caught: Dorothea Puente." So, took some notes about this. In February of 1988, Puente, who was 59 years old, she welcomed a new member to her boarding home, 52-year-old Elviro, impressive name, Bert Montoya. An outreach counselor named Jody Moyes placed Alvaro under care by Puente. And then by October 1988, Moyes learned that the client was no longer living at the home of Puentes. This led to question Puente on Alvaro's whereabouts. So that kind of gives you a timeline. So in February, Alvaro was being housed by Puente, and then was like about 8 months later, the client was no longer living there. That's when Moyes kind of learned. It was kind of questioning already, right? So Moyes was just wondering what was going on. No longer there. Puente was like, he's gone. He went to Puente told Moyes that Alvaro went to Mexico and then to Utah. And this is when Moyes kind of started, was still suspicious about Puente. And then November of 1988, that's when and people started, right? And this one says people start becoming suspicious 1988. People started becoming suspicious 1948 when Alvaro Montoya was a disabled man with schizophrenia, disappeared. His social worker had reported him missing when he missed his meetings. And then when they arrived, they checked the house and they found bodies. So it's really, really interesting. I want to see what there's anything more before all of that, before we get into more details. When you see at the bottom, I don't know if you've seen it, she fled to LA. Okay, so this article is from Sacktown Magazine. It's titled "The Life and Deaths of Dorothea Puente." The person that wrote this, the author, Martin Coos. We're gonna read that part about Montoya. May God rest his soul. They have pictures in these articles. This is pretty interesting. To me, it's kind of creepy. It's because there's these old pictures, and when you watch murder docs, murder mysteries, right, and they show these old videos, pictures of the serial killers, and it's just really creepy. Gives me kind of chills. Way old pictures from 30, 40 years ago. Anyways, getting off topic here. So this part of this article I'm gonna read. If you look at I'm gonna probably look at the pictures, and it kind of gives more details and depths of what they found, and their foundings of her inside her home, right? The three men carried shovels as they fanned out across the backyard of the two-story Victorian at 1426 F Street. John Cabrera and Terry Brown, homicide detectives with the Sacramento Police Department, and Jim Wilson, a federal probation agent, had arrived at the house late on the morning of November 11, 1988. They first spoke with Dorothea Puente, who ran the clean, cozy home as a boarding house for low-income tenants. Now she watched from her second-story porch as the trio began to dig. Their first series of holes dislodged only soft dirt, only soft dirt and a vague sense of fertility, as they pronounce it. But while digging a second hole, Wilson heard a muted thud as his blade struck something hard 3 feet down. He called over Cabrera and Brown, and after he scooped away more soil, they saw what resembled a tree root. When attempts to extract it with a shovel failed, Cabrera climbed into the hole. Setting his feet, he grabbed hold of the object, and with a violent jerk, loosed it from the earth's grip. His eyes popped wide. It was a human leg bone, he recalls. I could see the joint. This picture right here, a vial of Flores Pam found in Puente's home, courtesy of the Sacramento Archives. That's crazy. It's just creepy. I guess a t-shirt designed to cash in on Puente's mania, courtesy of the Sacramento Archives. I don't know why. Oh, what the heck. Cabrera scrambled out of the hole, pulse rate and thoughts quickening. The three law officers had stopped by the house to try to learn the whereabouts of Alvaro Bert Montoya. I think I got the name. I think I got the name correct. I'm looking at my notes trying to make sure I spelled everything correctly. Who had gone missing 3 months earlier. A gentle bear of a man, the 52-year-old Montoya suffered from untreated psychosis, a condition that for years had consigned him to the streets and homeless shelters. Puente had welcomed him into her home that February at that time. She owned a solid reputation among Sacramento social workers who referred clients to her. The other boarding house turned away. Mentally ill, recovering alcoholics and drug addicts, those with chronic physical maladies, who had no one to care for them. They were men and women who had skidded towards life's edges. Puente offered a place where they could hang on. Oh, okay. There's more about Montoya. Okay. Given Montoya's history as a transient, his disappearance would have escaped notice without the persistence of Judy Moyes, an outreach counselor with the Volunteers of America. Oh, so more info about Moyes. She had visited Puentes before placing him in her care. In October 1988, discovering he no longer lived at the house, Moyes began to hound Puente about his departure. Her evasive answers, first claiming he had traveled to Mexico, then that he had returned and moved to Utah, tripped Moyes' suspicion. She filed a missing person report with police on November 7th. An officer dispatched to the house that morning interviewed Puente and one of her tenants, John Sharp. In the landlady's presence, he corroborated her story about Montoya. But before the cop left, Sharp managed to slip him a handwritten note that read, "She's making me lie for her." Whoa, okay. He later divulged unsettling details about life at the house. Some months earlier, another tenant, a longtime alcoholic on a bender, had vanished after Puente went to his room to make him feel better. The acrid stench of rotting flesh soon spread through the home and beyond, an odor she blamed on sewer problems and that drew complaints from neighbors. Sharp also told the police that Puente had hired prisoners on work furlough to dig and fill large holes in the backyard. She had a all right. Now some of the holes were covered with concrete. The Montoya file landed on Cabrera's desk within a day. A year earlier, he had probed the case of Morris Solomon, a Sacramento handyman who would be convicted of murdering 6 women across the city. The detective had yet to realize that in the 59-year-old Puente, he had another serial killer on his hands. What he did know was that her public image was her public image as a shepherd of the disposed and veiled the past of an ex-con who preyed on the weak. All right, guys, I'm gonna end it right here. Like just going over this, it's crazy. Like she already had a history, and going back right to the article from Fox 40, like they just let her go, like they didn't do anything, right? So like right here, it says several parole agents visit Puente's house over the years in order to stay away from elderly people and not handle checks from the government. However, she was never charged during those visits. So that's gave her like, hey, I need you to stop. However, you do whatever you want. That this gave her like, all right, cool. You're not gonna cuff me, put me back in. Thank you. So I have more plans. I have a plan to do more. So yeah, that's crazy, man. Very disturbing. But I hope you guys enjoy this first part. Like I said, I want to split this in kind of two parts, maybe 3, depending how far I get more into this. Like if it doesn't take that much, and like you know what I mean. Like there's more about her. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I don't know what to title this. I have ideas. Just if you guys really enjoy this, I'll do more investigations you guys want me to like deep dive into. I kind of learned that if I can share like clips from videos, that way I don't get in trouble. I just been wanting to do something spooky, and this is kind of like something that happened in my hometown, and I want you guys to learn about it, and that way you will learn with me. So anyways, hope you enjoyed the video. Hit that like button, sub if you sub yet, and I'll catch you on the next one. See ya. Bye.